Hello friends, today we're going to be talking about how to run your vacation rental like a business. For many, owning a vacation rental is sometimes a side hustle or a hobby. And that can be okay, but running and treating it like a business will take your experience and profit to a whole new level. So by the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Once a real estate investor understands that they need to treat their real estate empire like a business, everything changes. Many people think getting into the vacation rental business is as simple as just acquiring a property, but it really isn't. Treating your vacation rentals like a business can be challenging, but if done correctly, it can make a world of difference. Let's first dive into this topic by helping you realize that you need systems to govern your vacation rental business. Second, why finding the right deal is key to getting you started off on the right foot. Third, I'll cover the management side of vacation rental businesses. And finally, I'll dive into the financial aspects of running it like a business. If you're ready, let's go. Just like any business, systems should govern your business, especially your vacation rental business. One thing that I learned early when I got into the vacation rental business was that I could not do everything at any given moment. I had to have systems set up to run my business just like any other business that I've ever had or I've ever run before. And the cool thing about the vacation rental business is there's a lot of tools out there that help you run it like a business, that do a lot of things for you. They can be confusing to know which ones, but I've waded through all of this for you and can help you understand which ones can help make a difference in you running your vacation rental business without needing to do a ton of additional research. And a lot of times those systems begin right from the get-go when you're searching for your first vacation rental. And you just got to be thinking, what systems will help you answer those questions of what, where, and why? If you find systems that help you answer those questions, you're off on the right foot. So first off, let's talk about how you find a vacation rental, because that is the first step in everything that we do. And having a system for that is vitally important to help you get your business started on the right foot. So when I first started looking for vacation rentals, I created a system. And here's exactly what I did. I first started looking on Google on which areas are the top areas to own a vacation rental. And I would see publications that would pop up from all sorts of different resources. And they would all have different metrics and ideas for which areas in the United States would be best to own a vacation rental. And I started comparing which areas started floating towards the top in lots of different publications. And then I started just looking at some of the data, right? Was this a new area? Was all of a sudden it was just an area that popped up all of a sudden, but might die down eventually? Were they on the top of a list one year, not even on the list the second year? I'd look for years of consistency rather than just the ones for the current year. Now, obviously the current year plays an important role, but having consistently being a top area where people want to travel and vacation to was important. And I started looking at what was around the area that would drive people to vacation there. Take our national parks. Typically, a lot of Airbnbs are set up around national parks. But when I ask people a lot of times, which is the most visited national park in the United States, most people guess Yellowstone or maybe Yosemite. And even though those are highly visited national parks, they pale in comparison to the Smoky Mountains National Park. Typically, it's 12 million visitors annually to the Smoky Mountains, and it has been that way for almost 20 years. Whereas Yosemite or Yellowstone typically have about 3.5 million visitors per year. It doesn't mean those aren't good areas, but doing your research to understand why people vacation and where they vacation to is the first thing to do. Once I have areas picked out, I compare that with AirDNA data. There's a website called airdna.co, and I go and I start plugging these areas into there, and those give me a handful of different data points that are really important to understand. Number one, what is the average nightly rate? What is the occupancy rate? And what is the monthly revenue typical for that area? Now, if everything starts to match up, I then do a deeper dive into that area. And here's what I look at. I look at regulations. Are there regulations that are going to affect that area? Are there short-term rental exclusions or vacation rental exclusions that are going to hinder or hurt you down the road? So look for regulations that are negative for owning short-term rentals or vacation rentals in that area. Second, can you afford the area? Obviously, if you find a great area, but the typical home is $750,000 and your budget is $500,000 to $600,000, you might not even have to spend any time in that area. You can move on to the next area. Are there active listings? Are there Airbnbs in that area that are actually being utilized at the moment? What are the optimal bedroom and bathroom counts for that area? Right? If you're in an area towards a national park that typically houses families or family reunions and you get a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, that might not be the best optimal size for that area. So you've got to figure out what is the optimal bedroom and bathroom count for the area. And finally, revenue target, right? Once I got that data from AirDNA, I plugged that into a model on a short-term rental calculator to make sure that the revenue can pay for all of my bills and my mortgage. If not, last thing I want to do is go underwater. Once you have the area, what caution should you take when starting a vacation rental? You've got to realize that it does take time, right? To create an experience for people that want to travel there, you've got to put time, energy, and effort and to make sure that it's a top-notch experience for those individuals and that you're getting high reviews because of the experience that you're helping them create. You've also got to be careful of saturated areas. So when you look at which areas are best, some might be very saturated with tons of vacation rentals. However, that doesn't mean that you can't participate and be in a good area. If that is the case, you've got to make sure that your vacation rental stands out above the rest. It can't be just some generic, typical home in that area. You've got to do things to make it stand out. So now that we got the systems down for finding a vacation rental, let's talk about the management side of a vacation rental business and how having systems can be really important when you do this. Now, if you decide that you're the type of person that values your time over the amount of money that you're going to make, if you're okay making a little bit less, you could hire a full service management team and they do everything. That is a systemized machine that does everything from the cleaning to the bookings to getting reviews. They do everything, but they're typically charging anywhere between 15 to 40% of the monthly revenue, annual revenue that comes in from that. But if you value that and you can negotiate with them, you might be able to find some that are 25%, maybe 30%. We do have a group that is a full service management managing our vacation rental in Island Park, Idaho, close to Yellowstone, and we pay them 25%, but they do a phenomenal job. And so if you're in that category, there's a complete system that is done for you. The second one is what I call half management. These are the ones that maybe get the bookings for you and they drive for reviews, but they don't oversee the cleaning or the maintenance, but they do have contacts for you to be able to reach out to potential cleaners or maintenance individuals that they'll put you in contact with, that you could definitely organize all of that through a calendaring system for your cleaning and for your maintenance if needed. And those companies typically are ones called like Vacasa or Evolve. I did utilize Evolve for our vacation rental in Blue Ridge, Georgia, and they did a great job. I just realized that pretty soon if I self-managed, I'm saving myself 10 or 15% of the revenue that comes in every single year. And when we were doing $80,000 a year, an extra $8,000 made a world of difference on the numbers for that vacation rental. And typically those half service entities charge anywhere between 10 to 25%. Evolve was 10%, and they do an amazing job. And so if you're in that category, great. And the last way, and this is the one that I recommend, it's self-management. It means you do everything. You put the listings on Airbnb, VRBO, and you manage it from the front end to the back end. So let's talk about systems when you self-manage. Number one, you've got to get cleaners on board, right? You've got to make sure that your cleaners know exactly when to show up, when guests are going to leave, when guests are going to show up. So there's that window that it can be cleaned if you have a same day turnover, right? And a good calendaring system with them, they're able to see everything that's happening and they're able to show up exactly when they're supposed to and have the vacation rental clean in time for the new guests to show up. You've also got to start getting on all the Facebook groups that are associated with vacation rentals in that area. So if ever you need a recommendation like a cleaner, like a handyman, like a maintenance individual, you can definitely go on those sites and say, listen, I need help here, any recommendations? And usually every group that I've ever been on is very informative and helpful to find some of those people if I ever need a recommendation. You're also going to need a dynamic pricing tool. This helps you understand where you need to put your pricing in the low season and in the high season. And if there's a short time to fill up your vacation rental, if you need to discount it, there's tools out there that'll do all this for you, and Price Labs is a great tool for that. And the last thing, as far as systematizing your business, you've got to track everything in Excel. So the revenue that comes in every single month, you've got to track all the expenses to find out exactly where you're at. If you do not track all your income and all of your revenue, all your expenses, you're not going to know where you're at. You're not going to know where you can make improvements. And that is part of the systematizing of a vacation rental business that many people miss. They think they can just see all of their bank statements and say, hey, I'm doing good or I'm not doing good. You need to put it all in an Excel spreadsheet. And I like to look at mine monthly and compare it month over month so I know exactly where my weaknesses are and my strengths. Finally, let's talk about a quick system to analyze a property from a financial standpoint that will help you know right then and there if it's a deal worth pursuing. And this is a general rule of thumb that I use for all of my short-term rentals, my vacation rentals, and it goes like this. this. If you find a property and the annual revenue is at least 10% of the purchase price, it's an okay deal, right? So if you find a property that's $500,000 and annual revenue is at least $50,000, that's at least worth considering, because you might be able to increase that revenue or increase the occupancy, which would increase the revenue, and you can dive further into seeing if it's a good fit. Now, if annual revenue is 15% of purchase price, that's a good deal. That's one that you definitely want to do a deeper dive and consider of putting offers on that. And finally, if annual rents or revenue are 20% of the purchase price, then that is a fantastic deal. I used to say it's a do not pass up deal. With today's interest rates, that might not be the case, but honestly, if you got a property that you find for $500,000 and annual rents are $100,000, I would not pass that up. If you do pass it up, send it my way. I'd probably be interested. Now, these are some things that I've done to systematize my vacation rental business. I'd be interested to see what you've done. And as always, I've got a free gift for you just for stopping by. It's aaronsfreetraining.com. Click on the link. It's actually a short-term vacation rental calculator where you put in all the revenue, all the expenses, and it spits out for you all the things I just mentioned. Cash on cash return, if it's a good deal based on annual rents compared to the purchase price, it gives you everything, and it's free just for stopping by. Once again, thanks for coming by, saying hi. Have an awesome day.